Urgent warning from weather forecasters. Dangerous and relentless cyclones and hundreds of thousands left without power in California. These California residents brace for more severe weather after a week of torrential downpours and damaging winds killed at least 12 people in the past 10 days, and also knocked out power for hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses. Rain fell in California again over the weekend as the state continued to face the possibility of flooding, possible mudslides, and damaging wind gusts. And hundreds of thousands of homes in California were left without power early yesterday morning after torrential downpours and high winds battered the northern part of the state. And forecasters warn of a relentless parade of cyclones over the coming days. Now, folks, I hope and pray that these families can come out of this alive and well, because this is a very significant weather pattern that is laying waste to the West Coast state. Home to new House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who just emerged triumphant after days of battling through his own personal chaotic struggle with some of the members of Congress. After 5 days of chaos and 15 rounds of floor votes, the newly elected Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is now set to immediately face an instant challenge today as the House votes on a new rules package. And as a handful of establishment Republicans indicated yesterday that they may withhold their support for the rules unless more details of concessions made to the ultra-conservative lawmakers during a week of torrid negotiations are revealed. McCarthy secured his victory to the speakership late on Friday after winning over support from holdout members of the hard right Freedom Caucus, who had leveraged their power due to the slim margin of control that Republicans hold in the House. And as of the time of recording this video, the full details of those negotiations have not been made public, leading many people to speculate that McCarthy has guaranteed the group positions on key committees and thrust them further into power. Now, I promise to provide more coverage and share with you more information on that very, very soon. However, the real and most immediate dangers lie in the Golden State, where the National Weather Service said in a bulletin, round after round of heavy rain on saturated soils will produce considerable flood potential with rapid river rises, mudslides, and burn scar flash floods or debris flows, adding that gusty winds may down trees and power lines. And yesterday, more than 540,000 homes and businesses were already without power in California, and this is according to data from the poweroutages.us. Now, I really do hope that these people were stocked up and prepared for this, because it could continue to last for days to come. And even once this severe storm passes, it could take days or even weeks to get emergency crews out to restore power and utilities, open grocery stores, and provide fresh, clean water to these people who have been hit by this devastating blow. So the first of the heavier storms was due to arrive today, Monday. And the National Weather Service agency issued a flood watch for a large swath of northern and central California, with 6 to 12 inches of rain expected through Wednesday in the Sacramento area foothills. And the NWS said the West Coast remains under the target of a relentless parade of cyclones, which will intensify over the Pacific Ocean while moving towards land. And added that with terrain already saturated from previous rainfall, additional bursts of heavy rain will lead to a heightened threat of flash flooding and rapid rise of river levels. And according to the Associated Press, a climatologist in the state of California, Michael Anderson, he told a news briefing late Saturday that officials were closely monitoring Monday's incoming storm and another behind it, and we're keeping an eye on 3 other systems further out in the Pacific. And the NWS Sacramento office tweeted early Sunday that parts of the Sacramento Valley were experiencing strong winds with gusts up to 60 miles per hour as well as numerous trees and power lines down with power outages. Please, folks, if you or any friends or loved ones are in the area, make sure you're being careful. Stay safe and alert them as well in case they are unaware of just how potentially dangerous this weather event could end up being. So far, it has been reported that at least 6 people have died in the severe weather since New Year's weekend, including a toddler who unfortunately was killed by a fallen redwood tree crushing a mobile home in Northern California. So sad. And Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency Wednesday as California was engulfed by rain and snow, producing flooding across the state, which is anticipated to experience rapidly and intense changing weather as strong winds down power lines and infrastructure, creating hazardous conditions. So get this, folks. According to research by the UCLA Department of the Environment and Sustainability, climate change has already made extreme precipitation in California twice as likely, with extreme weather predicted to generate between 200 to 400% of surface runoff, which is rainwater that cannot be absorbed by the soil. And this is modeled to occur by the end of the century. California soil has long been weakened by drought and summer wildfires, which cause trees to brittle or burn down, and this reduces the amount of interference for the rainfall, which quickly forms streams on parched ground and leads to greater flood risk. And folks in states outside of California must stay alert because meteorologists say that across the rest of the United States, showers and thunderstorms will move across the deep south, and cold rain is moving across the Midwest and will reach the central Appalachians this Monday morning. Perhaps relocating to a safer state once this is all over will be at the forefront of a lot of Californians' minds. But if so, they will have to act fast because there is another large population of people who have the same ideas and share similar interests and are already making plans to steal as much of the low-priced and affordable housing and real estate as they can away from other potential buyers. And they are traveling a much greater distance to relocate than from just California.
A potential bright spot for the housing market from an unexpected place. Let's get to Diana Olick. Diana?
Well, Kelly, one word for it. China. Travel restrictions are lifting this weekend, but apparently Chinese buyers have already been searching online. Home searches on July, which is kind of like the Zillow of Asia, jumped 60% in general just after the announcement, according to the company's CEO. He says more than a third of that was to the U.S.
For the Chinese investor, they love real estate. For them, still, U.S. is quite cheaper than where they are, even the Southeast Asia. So for them, it's not about their cash buyers. They are not interested. They are be looking for the good deals because this is the time where the prices are right.
Chinese buyers have long loved the U.S., but dropped to third place after the start of COVID among top international buyers of U.S. properties. They are still first by dollar volume, but previously it had been more for investment properties in L.A. or Manhattan. Ansari says they are now searching as owner-occupants, looking at larger family homes in areas like Houston and Austin. And he says he believes they could help juice the spring housing market as they are just starting to make travel plans to come to the U.S. to go house hunting. Kelly?
I admit that this is kind of blowing my mind. So we have Chinese cash buyers looking to buy homes in, say, Texas. Is this because they anticipate that they're going to be moving and living there? Is this demand genuine or investment?
Well, that's what he says. Now, we've seen investors, as I said before, we've been out to California where they buy up large plots of homes and especially in Manhattan on the high end. But this is a little bit different to see them in Texas and buying these large family homes. He says they're searching out home offices, more bedrooms, outdoor space, which says to them that they may be living there. And again, as you put it, these are mostly cash buyers, so they don't care where mortgage rates are.
So if I'm sitting here and thinking, I would say I have to sell my home, I'd love a cash offer from a Chinese or an international buyer.
Listed on July, maybe.
That's what I was going to say. How do I get in front of that? Will my own realtor or are the Chinese coming to sites like Zillow, or do you literally have to try to get in front of and use those internet engines that they might be using?
Well, they may be looking at Zillow. That's possible. But July is all across Asia. And I have spoken to agents, especially in California. Now, that may change to Texas now as well. But previously, when there was so much demand in California, I spoke to agents there who knew all about July and were listing some properties on it.
That is totally fascinating. Diana, thank you.
Yes, that's right. Reports and real estate market data show that Texas is topping the list with high levels of interest from China. Millions of Chinese international buyers are looking to buy up as much real estate as they can now, and certainly more than they have in the past. And they're looking for the lower price deals, the most affordable housing that is out there, and they don't care about interest rates either because, well, they're bringing all cash to closing. So if you're in need of affordable housing and don't want to only have the option of paying extremely high price rent to possibly Chinese investors and Chinese landlords buying up single family homes as they relocate from China, now may be the time to get out there and secure your home purchase before it's too late. And the timing is almost strange and oddly impeccable as the Fed announced that officials see higher rates for some time ahead. All right, folks, so get this. The Federal Reserve's officials say that they are committed to fighting inflation and, as a result, expect higher interest rates to remain in place until more progress is made. And this is according to minutes released just a few days ago from the central bank's December meeting. At a meeting where policymakers raised their key interest rate another 0.5 percentage point, they expressed the importance of keeping restrictive policy in place while inflation holds unacceptably high. And the Minneapolis Fed President Neel Kashkari said in a post for the district's website that he sees the funds rate rising to 5.4% and possibly higher if inflation doesn't trend down. Now, this will only further entice these international buyers, like the many who are already shopping online and looking to flee China to come to the United States to buy up America's real estate and pay cash to avoid high interest debt payments that so many American families just can't afford right now. However, there appears to be some good news on the horizon as it relates to jobs and layoffs. So, according to the latest Nonfarm payrolls report, the U.S. employment rate declined overall in December, but the data also reveals that unemployment was on the rise for black women and Hispanic men. Data from the Labor Department showed that black women saw unemployment increase to 5.5% last month, up from 5.2% in November. Meanwhile, Latino men saw unemployment rise to 4% in December, an increase up from 3.6% the month before. And the unemployment among Latino women also ticked up to 3.7% from 3.6%. Now, I do wonder if this is due to more Hispanic men and women losing their jobs and being laid off, or does it have anything to do with the change in the amount of Latino men and women currently taking up residence here in the United States? Now, data presents a strong representation for these groups of people in the leisure and hospitality sector. So if you're looking for a job, then perhaps this may be a good place to go if you fall into any of these categories and are out of work. And as we see here, Goldman Sachs is preparing to cut about 3,200 jobs this week after a cost review. And remember, folks, I shared these warnings at the end of 2022 that this would be coming, and now it is happening. These giant businesses and corporations have reviewed their budgets and have made plans and preparations that they are beginning to execute on now. And already, just a little over a week into the new year. And these big banks are no different. They are businesses too. Folks, I hope you're prepared and have your budgets in order as well. So Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated, under Chief Executive Officer, CEO David Solomon, is embarking on one of its biggest rounds of job cuts ever as it locks in on a plan to eliminate about 3,200 positions this week, with the bank's leadership going deeper than rival banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase to shed these jobs, warning that the firm is expected to start the process midweek, and according to a person with knowledge of the matter, the total number of positions affected will not exceed 3,200, and more than a third of those will likely be from within its core trading and banking units, indicating the broad nature of the cuts. Now, the firm is also poised to unveil financials tied to a new unit that houses its credit card and installment lending business, which will record more than $2 billion in pre-tax losses. So this is included in the bad debt, default, and bankruptcy that I was warning you all about previously. All right, now I want you all to pay very close attention to what was shared in this news article. Okay, so slowdowns in various business lines, an expensive consumer banking foray, and an uncertain outlook for markets and the economy are prompting the bank to batten down costs. Here, let me say that again in case you missed it the first time. Slowdowns in various business lines, an expensive consumer banking foray, and an unexpected outlook for markets and the economy are prompting the bank to batten down costs. If anyone watching knows where this is stemming from, please comment down below. And here's a hint. I warned you all this was coming in several videos dating back to as early as August of 2022. So go take a look, go back and look at my older videos, and you'll begin to see exactly what I told you was preparing to go down. Additionally, merger activity and fees from raising money for companies have taken a hit across Wall Street, and a slump in asset prices has eliminated another source of big gains for Goldman from just a year ago. Those broader industry trends have been compounded by the bank's mistakes in its retail banking foray, where losses piled up at a much faster rate than forecasts through the year. Keyword, folks, retail banking. Hey, the S is hitting the F, y'all. And so, according to analyst estimates, all that's left the bank facing a 46% drop in profits on about $48 billion of revenue. And as a reminder, the last major exercise of this scale came after the collapse of Lehman Brothers in 2008. So Goldman had prepared to execute on a plan to cut more than 3,000 jobs, which is nearly 10% of its workforce. And top executives would not receive their bonuses either. Ouch. Now, it is amazing to see all this happening so quickly. And I knew it was coming, but I thought we would have at least made it through the month of January before these announcements would be made public. And as always, if this is what they're telling us all to expect of what is to come, then we must know that it is going to be far worse. And as this nationwide economic softening continues, as the Fed continues to push for the shrinking of balance sheets, we may all experience some disruptions along the way until the process is completed. The economy must reset to somewhat of a more sustainable level, and that is likely to include job loss and restructuring to bring down wages for thousands, if not millions, of hardworking American people. Prepare your budgets and make sure you're not carrying too much high-interest debt. Secure and further build your savings safety net and try to earn as much money as possible from as many sources as possible if you can. Embrace yourself and hold on, because we're going to be in for a bumpy ride, folks. And if you are possibly retired, living on a fixed income, single income, low income, or perhaps SSI or SSDI, Social Security benefit, government aid, EBT, SNAP food stamps benefit, P-EBT allotments, folks, then I have some information that I would like to share that could potentially help you weather this storm that is being intensified and strengthened by record inflation. We're seeing at the grocery stores, folks. Have you seen the price of eggs? I also want to discuss ways to receive government stimulus, free grant money from the government for starting businesses, investing for beginners in platforms like Novatec, Forex trading, and other forms of passive income stream strategies. So if you are interested in this, please drop a comment down below and let me know so I can see just how much interest there is in these topics. And if there's a lot of interest, I'll be sure to make those videos next. Until next time, folks, you all take care and be safe. Bye for now.